What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name's Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellania. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome. If you are coming back, welcome on back. Looking great, guys, gals, non-binary pals. You're all looking good. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about, it's been a week, and I wanted to kind of take some time, revisit what has gone down in my mind since the 24-hour live. And I kind of just wanted to talk about what I learned from that experience, what I how I've changed, how I feel like the community has changed maybe a little. And so while I'm sitting here doing some diamond painting and reflecting, I wanted to reflect on that. So, that said, if you are unfamiliar with what I am talking about, a week ago on the 26th of April, I recorded a live wherein I diamond painted for 24 hours solid. I diamond painted the whole time. Maybe, a little break here and there to go to the bathroom or put some food into my mouth, but really, I diamond painted for the whole 24 hours. And I will link that up in the cards there. There are two separate videos, so you'll see one come up and then the other, because YouTube stops archiving after a certain amount of hours, 12 hours to be exact, and so I had to jump it between two videos, so that's why it's in two videos. That said, the point of that live was a marathon for mental health. For those who have been paying attention to my channel for a while, you already know that I am a huge proponent for mental health and taking care of yourself. Making sure that you are good. I like to check in when I ask you guys, like, how are you? I'm serious. I'd like to know, how are you? What's up? If you got to talk with me about something or whatever, I'm here. I want to be a person in the community that you feel safe with and that you can turn to for a laugh, or if you have questions, to ask questions. Yeah, all the things. So that said, go ahead and watch some if you want to watch some. There's a lot obviously to see, but it happened. It really happened. But the things that I learned, well, first of all, I learned that with no time set aside at all, really, it was on kind of a whim that I decided to record and set that all up, that I was able to pull together a lot of really amazing things. And it's all about the power of asking. I think we as people are so afraid of the answer no that we won't ask. And I think that goes for mental health as well. Really, truly, and honestly, I had panicked myself so much about the fact that, I could ask these sponsors, but it's only a couple of days they're going to say no. And a friend convinced me, like, who cares? That's the worst they can say, right? Is no. You can try, though. And then I ended up with some really fantastic sponsors. I thought, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be alone for most of the time. As the hours tick by, it's going to be me talking to myself like I'm on a whip and chat or whatever. And I put out a kind of a request to the community, like, hey, come hang out with me. Keep me awake, tell me funny things. And just like I tell people that they can ask me for anything, I felt like I could turn to the community and ask for something and receive it. I was told after that live to start an Amazon wish list. And, because I had brought up during the live that I'm using a chair from, literally 1970 something. My butt's flattening out sitting on this crap chair, and that, I need a desk and whatever. And they were like, start an Amazon wish list. And within a week, the chair that I put on that wish list was bought for me. Two chairs. Still trying to figure out what to do with the spare. But, it shows me that it's all in the power of asking for help. A lot of what I've struggled with regard to the YouTube channel has been in the power of asking. I worry that, if I ask, people will see me as desperate, or if I ask, people will think that I'm just looking for a handout, or if I ask that I'm not good enough. And I feel like I painted myself into that corner when I was at the worst part of my addictions, that it was fear of asking, fear of the shame that's connected with asking for help. So I learned that you gotta ask. You gotta ask. And when you ask, some really amazing things can happen. So that was number one. Number two, I learned that the community, one, there are some brilliant, funny, kind, wonderful minds in our community that are just hiding away. Little gems, you guys are. Little gems hiding away in, sometimes not even in the comment section, just hiding, not saying a word. And it was so wonderful to draw some of those people out and to see some of those people really shine in a lot of ways, whether that was, us talking and, somebody talking about something personal to them, and the group coming together and having really wonderful advice for that person, or just hilarity. We, of course, started getting loopy at a certain point in the live, but, just the laughs just kept on coming. And with that, people who were struggling with whatever it was that they were struggling with were kind of given what they needed. And so I learned that there are so many of you that sometimes you don't even hide in the comment section. You're just hiding. You're not commenting at all. You're just hiding. And man, when you guys let your freak flag fly, it was something to behold. It was something amazing. So I am incredibly just grateful for the community of people that showed and built bonds. I feel like there were a lot of bonds that were built, and it was awesome. It was awesome to watch. I learned that talking about mental health seems to have a ripple effect in a way. And I'm not saying that I'm responsible for any of the mental health talk that you hear from diamond painters around YouTube. I don't know that that's true, but I do feel that there tends to be a popcorning that happens, right? Where if one person of note says something, then another person, kind of piggybacks off, and it snowballs. It snowballs. And I and maybe it's complete coincidence. It's very possible it's complete coincidence, but I did find that the conversation around mental health in our community really started to ramp up in the last week. I've heard more open conversations about how people are actually doing, and more open conversations about uh, just mental health in general. And I'm so proud to see it. I don't know that it has anything to do with me, and I'm not going to take credit because I don't know that it has anything to do with me, but it has been really lovely to see the narrative turn to, you know, we are a group of men, women, non-binary people, people of all walks of life, cultures, religions, communities, everything. We are a community of, I feel like almost, I don't, I hesitate to say outcasts because I don't think that we're all that. I think that many of us have faced the same struggles, and I found that that was true in the live, talking about that in the live, like determining that I was not alone in a lot of ways in things that I've been dealing with, things that I've been thinking, things that I've been seeing, like that there are many of you who have dealt with these same issues in life. And so I feel like each one of us knows full well and truly what exclusion feels like, and that each one of us is getting a little bit better, I believe anyways, with real like attention to the issue, that each one of us is getting a little bit better at seeing when we're doing it to others. Or at least I hope so. I am. Anyways, I have learned that. I can't speak for everyone. I learned that it doesn't so much matter where you've come from. It really matters in where you're going. So I've struggled, in a lot of ways, on and off throughout the entirety of my life, but I don't necessarily focus on that as a talking point for everything. Yeah, I do talk about certain ones of my struggles because it's very important to my narrative, and I guess that leads into the next thing that I learned, which is, one, it doesn't so much matter where I've been as to where I'm going, and two, that it is so important to talk about our mental health and how we're doing, how we're really actually doing, because the more that those things get hidden away and there's, shame attached with it, I feel like we will use any excuse to cover it up because we don't want to be ashamed of what we've done or what we've said or whatever. We don't want to be ashamed. And it is so, so, so important to talk about your journey in your life, the journey that you're always on, the journey that you've been on, the journey that you're going on, all of it. So while it might not so much matter like where you've come from necessarily, it does matter where you've been, because it all leads to where you're at now, if that makes sense. And I've found that sharing my story, which I was so scared before getting on the YouTube and opening up fully about everything with my mental health issues and all the things that I struggle with, I worried so much that I would be judged by others and that, you know, people would see me as that label and that I would not be able to be anything else to anybody. And it was nice to know that um, it wasn't that way. That, in fact, many people had shared my same experience and were able to either recover from a struggle themselves or, you know, to watch someone in their life recover from a struggle. It's awesome. It's really, really awesome. And that I don't have to be that which I was. I don't have to own that title as that's what I am forever and now I'm garbage. And that was really a relief for me. Um, I'm very open about all of my stuff, and I know it probably seems nuts. Like, why would I want to share these things about myself? Uh, don't I worry that, you know, somebody will say something bad about me, or don't I worry that, you know, somebody else might talk crap about me or whatever? Yeah, I do. I do. I worry about that stuff. I, but at my last job, I worked with a person that I'd worked with them since before I became a manager, and she did not like the idea that I was a manager, and so she would go out of her way to, when I would hire a new person and she would be training that new person, she'd go out of her way to tell my story the way that she wanted to tell my story and to paint me as some sort of, you know, dirty, disgusting addict criminal. Like, she went out of her way to paint me in this light. So if I don't, I always felt like if I didn't share my narrative with people, that someone else would tell my story and tell my story in their way. And I find that, one, it is true. People do that. People really do that. It's gross that they do that, but they do that. And so I didn't want that part of myself to come out on here in, you know, fits and bursts, and then like there's some behind the hand talking that's going on, and again, hiding those things away, it's so bad. It's just so bad. It just builds all the shame around who you are and what you've lived through, your life experiences, and I don't want to feel shame about those things. So I learned that the community in at large, not even just diamond painting community, but the community at large, is pretty accepting of a person for their faults and the things that maybe were not so beautiful about their past. And so I am so grateful for that, because that was something that I worried about. I wanted to be authentically me and to share the ugliest parts of myself without feeling like, you know, I was going to be shunned or whatever. And I'm so glad that that wasn't the case. I learned also that the people in the community that are looking for a home hopefully found one. There were, I feel like, a lot of people who were kind of just like, I don't know, like flotsam and jetsam, right? I told the story about how I got the name House of Miscellania. And I'll share it here because it is relevant. My life has been a series of taking in strays, okay? Whether that's been stray animals, stray people, stray kids, you know, whatever. I've always been a person who has taken in strays and nurtured them, brought them back to health if they were malnourished or whatever. I always worked very hard to bring them back to health before they'd be like returned into the wild, or before they, would go out on their own, whatever. Like I've always brought in strays. And so in a way, like that contributes to the name. I was told by a an employee, like I was explaining to her about how, I've ended up with stray children and I've raised more kids than were my own, and how I've ended up with, friends who are down on their luck, or people who are in an unsafe situation have stayed with me. I've, fostered as many animals as probably any person ever should in their lifetime, finding them out in the wild and bringing them home so that I could make sure they found their forever homes or whatever. And she had mentioned, like, oh, you're like a house mother. Well, I knew the term just from, media that I've consumed, what a house mother was, but I was like, I wonder. I had asked my son's friend, like, yeah, somebody said something about me being a house mother. And they were one of the kids, my son's friend was one of the kids that has lived with me, has been one of the strays that has lived in my home. And she said, oh my God, it's so true. Yeah, absolutely. You should come up with a house name. Well, my house is always full of just randomness. I mean, random stuff. I have the most random collection of things, and the most random collection of friends, and the most random collection of children, and the most random collection of pets. And so, Miscellania was just always something I've called my house. Uh, it's been like my Hulu username for forever and ever, you know what I mean? So, House of Miscellania was one of the options I wrote down as like a channel name. And when I read them through to my son and my husband, like, these are the channel names that I kind of thought about. And my son was like, call it House of Miscellania. It just seems right. And then he made my logo. I felt like, and the reason it's pertinent, I felt like that gathering, right, that 24-hour live was a gathering of just more of the people who have been kind of on the outskirts or whatever and looking for a home themselves. And I mean, I love the fact that the channel name is House of Miscellania, but I really want it to be a home. And I really hope that there were some people that found one, because, I've mentioned it a few different times because it's important to mention that exclusion, when people are excluded, it feels emotionally like a physical punch to the face. And I've been excluded many, many, many a time. And I just wanted everybody to know that this is a space where that doesn't happen. You will not be excluded. You will always be a part of the conversation. I will attempt to make sure of it. I am so grateful for the things that I have that others don't. I'm thankful for having a voice and being unafraid to speak up on certain things, because, there hasn't been that for me in my life. I've had to be that. And so I'm very grateful that I can put all of this out there. You know what I mean? Like, that I can do that and not feel shame anymore, because the community of people that came together during that 24-hour live uh, gave me so much strength in myself. And it's a night, it's an experience that I'm never, ever, ever going to forget. Uh, I am incredibly grateful to just everybody that was involved, everyone involved. Um, I tried my best at the end to wrap it up in a way that was succinct and really encapsulated like everything I was feeling. And unfortunately, I got very emotional. Not unfortunately, it was genuine. The emotion was genuine, but it also came from a place of exhaustion, a place of just spent. I was spent. Uh, I was honestly like, I was so ready to do it again. And everybody was like, oh my God, when are we doing the next one? And unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave you wanting for a while. One, while I plan the next one, because, I don't want to just throw out another live. I feel like that would cause the first to kind of lose its potency and its power. I do want to do another. I do, definitely. But I don't want to do it very quickly because one, woof, that was exhausting. And two, I don't want that night to lose its importance. Its importance for the singular thing that it was, because it was a singular thing. So I did get very emotional in trying to sign off, just because I was grateful. I was so tired. I was, like I said, I was really, really spent, but I wouldn't change that for anything. No amount of money could change that for me. So in a light of a different day, in a light of a new day, I can look at it and I still get very emotional when I think about it or when I speak about it. It does really just touch my heart. I don't have to cry, which is good because I'm an emotional person, obviously. But I'm not trying to have a sob on the YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, not every day. Let's keep that to a minimum. Keep it to a minimum. But yeah, like after diamond painting for 24 hours solid, and then like literally going through the wheel of emotions throughout the entire live, just everything from elation to frustration to anger at times, not about anybody that was there or whatever. It was anger about the situation somebody else was going through, or things that they had encountered in their lives, and things like that. That was frustrating. Not anything else was frustrating. But the deep bonds and connections that a group really built together, and a larger group, I think, in time is building. I think that there's a lot of people who are starting to even get to know each other. There were people who had never met before that now are exchanging information, really like getting to know each other better. And that is thrilling to me because I could tell that there were some people just as lonely as I was on that particular live, that I felt like by the end of it did not leave feeling so lonely anymore. So I was incredibly, incredibly grateful for that. I would not change that for the world. So, yeah. Cons. Well, let me finish the pros by saying the last part, the sponsors for that event. Again, I will shout them out because they pulled together for me with literally days of heads up time. Like, they, without hesitation, said yes when I asked. Uh, First and foremost, Laura from Anxiety Art Adventures. She was the first to to offer to be a sponsor for that event. That was what got kind of the whole idea of the sponsor ball rolling, because I didn't even think like, oh, I could do a sponsors for this thing and like have giveaways and make it a whole thing. So Laura from Anxiety Art Adventures, massive thank you to you for getting the ball rolling on the whole even idea of sponsors in the first place. Um, Huge thank you to Stephanie over at Lazy River Crafts, who was uh, able to give something for that event. Butterfly Effect Wares, Abby and John, thank you so much for your support. I super appreciate. Um, Cat Proof Trays, massive thank you to you for allowing people to get discounts on their purchases. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Uh, I feel like I'm missing more than uh, Jennifer from DP Addiction Adventures came in like came in the clutch and gave away a book, her book signed, and that was amazing. Diamond Art Club, thank you for sponsoring the event as well. Who am I missing, you guys? Oh my goodness. I hope I haven't missed anybody. Leopard Leatherworks came in and offered as a gift for me doing the event a pen, which I am so excited to get to see turned. So thank you to Leopard Leatherworks. In fact, if all of these people that I'm naming, they have social medias of various kinds. I will link them in the descriptions, in the description down below. Please, 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 please go and sub to their things. If you can't support their Etsy pages by buying things, then like their Etsy pages, follow their Etsy pages. It does help. But follow their medias because it's massively helpful to them. Also, I knew I wouldn't forget because I was going to make sure I didn't. Tima over at DP with Sparklers, or Diamond Painting with Sparklers. Also, thank you. So not only did she give away one, she gave me one prize to give away, but then she showed up. I didn't even realize that they were coming, so I had already given away the other, and she gave a whole other gift prize for me to give away. And so thank you, Tima, also. Didn't want to forget her either. I believe that's everybody. If I left somebody out, I don't think I did, but if I left somebody out, like, you can come after me. I promise you can come after me. Come get me. Because shame on me for forgetting. But it was so nice to have just the community come together for the purpose of having eyeballs on mental health. And so it didn't all the way reach the goal that I wanted to reach, which was, to get to 1,000 subscribers. But again, that wasn't the purpose. That wasn't the reason. And I feel like if whatever I said throughout that event, or whatever I have said since then, is able to reach one person, and I know that sounds really contrived, that if I could just reach one person, but really, truly, and honestly, if whatever I said can change or save a life in some sort of way, and it does, like, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So that said, I really can't wait to do it again. I want to Again, thank every person that spent time with me in the chat. The other thing that I will be doing just now is there were a lot of people that worked on various diamond paintings or crafts, whatever, throughout the event. And I am going to share above my talking now and like beyond, maybe if there needs to be more, I'm going to share photos that people shared with me of their whips and their finishes for that event. Just a lot of incredible work was done. And I mean that in multiple ways. Like, a lot of incredible work was done. Diamond paintings were finished, or diamond paintings were, kitted up and started during that event. People were able to finish things or start things or work on things. And I'm so grateful that they decided to tune in and work on those things with me, because it really brought a sense of community to that event, that we were all kind of in it together, It was very, 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 very special to me. And I will honestly, truly and honestly, I will cherish that for the rest of my life. Can't wait to do it again. Like I said, it's going to be a while. We will most likely, put a year between me and that event going again. That isn't to say that, like I said, I'm not going to do it again, but I want to put some space between myself and the event. But that said, you can believe that if I'm around to do it, I will definitely run that event again. All of that said, if for whatever reason you are struggling and you need some sort of help, whether that is with mental health, addiction, alcoholism, self-harm, all of those things, if you need help with any of those things, please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out for help. Your safety and your mental health is massively important. And even though you may not feel every day in your life like you are worthwhile, you're worthwhile to me. And so if you can, talk to somebody. Please utilize your local crisis centers, or I believe it is 988. Utilize the tools that are around you. You do not have to suffer alone, and you do not have to suffer in silence. Please, please find yourself the help that you need. And if it starts by asking, then you gotta ask. And I'm so glad that I asked, because I wouldn't have had the experiences that I've had. So that said, in the comments below, if you'd like to leave a comment, if you were at the event, what was your favorite part, or what did you learn, what was your takeaway from everything. If you have not watched it and you wish to watch it, are you what are you hoping to see? Because you'll probably get the whole gamut covered. That said, again, for those of you who enjoy talking about mental health and diamond painting, and you are not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button if you'd like to. Also hit the bell if you'd like to be notified when I put up new content. I put up new content fairly regularly, so if you just check back, within a couple of days, I'm sure you'll see something. And if you are interested, I did start a members only, whatever thing here on YouTube, whatever you want to call it. I pulled everything off of the Patreon, and now I'm just doing a members thing here on YouTube. If you would like to become a member, there's only one level. It's fairly, I feel like it's, very fairly priced, and it's, not too scary for an introductory level. You get a lot for it. If you would like to become a member of the channel, everything that I make from that will go back into the channel as I keep trying to grow the channel and bring awareness to really important issues. I thank you for sticking around this long. Thank you to every person who has, reached out over the last week and checking in. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope that wherever you are in this great, big, beautiful world, that you are having a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Thanks so much, you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.